culture shock. I'm going to talk about culture shock today. Culture shock. It's the impact of when a person moves from one country or culture to another culture or country. It happens for everyone who travels or who moves away from their home country. I'm traveling a lot and I'm going through culture shocks almost every time when I travel. And I wanted to talk about it and how I cope with it and what it is. So culture shock. I've been traveling since I moved away from Sweden when I was 21. That was 6 years ago. And I've noticed that culture shocks, it comes and goes in different stages. And I've read about it today also. So it was very interesting to kind of read more about it. I haven't really dived into the subject as much. I woke up this morning and felt like I needed to make a video. And I'm with my friend at the moment in Sweden. I just arrived from an 11-month trip in Asia. I've noticed a bit of a culture shock since I came here. Some common things that we go through in culture shock: information overload, language barriers, generation gap, technology gap, formulation dependency, homesickness, boredom, and yeah, all of this can happen because we are in different cultures. There's different food, different way of socializing, different values. You know, cultures are different. Some symptoms of culture shock that people can feel or go through can be mood swings, irritability, boredom, anger, compulsive eating, drinking, or weight gain. Can also be a desire for home or for friends, homesickness, excessive sleep, feelings of helplessness, getting stuck in one thing, glazed stares, impulsivity, irritability, physiological stress, withdrawal. Apparently there's kind of 4 and 5 stages to culture shock. The first one is the honeymoon. It's basically when we are arriving in the new culture or in the new country, we are in the honeymoon phase, which is having this euphoria of being in a new country, just feeling like this adventurous energy of wanting to know more and feeling very happy that you are in a new place and very excited and wanting to know more and liking the new things that is not really that we're not used to. So the different foods, different music, and how the people are interacting with us and stuff. So this is the honeymoon phase. Yeah, that's kind of the nicest phase, I would say. Obviously, everyone wants to be in the honeymoon phase. As with everything, it ends. The honeymoon phase always ends. The next stage is the negotiation stage. The honeymoon stage kind of wears down and we can feel a sense of discomfort in where we are, depression, anger, irritability. There's a lot of different symptoms that we can get from culture shocks, and I'm not gonna dive into all of the emotions that we can go through because it's a very personal thing comparing to who you are. But this negotiation stage is, I guess, the most uncomfortable stage because we are basically seeing things without rose ice glasses. I can't say that, but you kind of understand what I mean. It's when we get the reality check of where we are. Maybe in the honeymoon phase we see all of the new people as very friendly, but in the negotiation stage maybe we realize the darker side of where we are in a way. Sounds weird, but yeah. And then after that we have the adjustment stage, basically adjusting to where we are, kind of learning more about it and coping with it in some way. And then after that we have the adaptation stage, when we are adapting to where we are. And the fifth stage is kind of doing it all over again, where we come back to our home city or our home country, called the re-entry shock. And I can say that seriously, every time I come back to Sweden I experience the re-entry shock, basically you come back to the country that you were used to, and you're realizing that the country has developed when you weren't there. Every time I'm in Sweden, I am in this phase. I don't really associate myself with Sweden because I don't, yeah, it's hard to describe. I don't really feel it. I don't really know about these things. I just experience it. I don't really have a problem to come back to Sweden, but I can obviously put down my roots here if I want to and adjust to this culture here. But I rather keep on experiencing new and different cultures, to be honest. So yeah, how do you cope with culture shock? Having things that reminds me of home, which is different comparing to who you are, but when I travel, for an example, I have incense with me, I have candles, I usually have a tapestry where I put up in my room, and that kind of makes my room, even if it's a random hotel room in another country, it feels like my little bubble, my little home. So even though I experience a lot of different things outside of my hotel room, I can come home to my little bubble, to my little safe space. If I have incense, for an example, that reminds me of calmness, then when I come home, I have my sanctuary home. But obviously, it's just like a fake little bubble. It's not, my home is my body, so it doesn't really matter of where I am. First of all, how to cope with culture shock is it's totally normal to feel the symptoms of culture shock, and it's totally normal to go through the emotions that you go through if you're going from one culture to another culture. What I do is accept. Acceptance is the most important stage, I would say. Accept that you are in a different culture, accept that cultures are different. Acceptance doesn't really mean that you totally 100% understand the new culture, the new values, food, environment. It's more about knowing that you don't have to understand where you are in order to live a normal life. Another tip or another coping mechanism is to have some kind of routine that you can do every morning or every day that you can do wherever you are. So basically writing in a gratitude journal and doing yoga, doing meditation, doing something that you do as a normal daily routine, but it doesn't matter what country you are in. Another tip to cope with culture shock is also to get in so much information as possible in the morning, in the beginning. I need to take in all of the information before. So basically just explore places around, talk to the people around, the locals, and it's easier. The more you communicate with the people around you, the easier it gets, because you can more easily understand their values, what they are coming from, how they are kind of thinking or behaving in the country that you are visiting. It helps a lot to obviously have a contact from like family, friend, from the culture that you are used to. So, if you feel sad, you always have someone that you can call that can kind of give you this sense of calmness or home feeling. In my own experiences, accepting where I am and what I am experiencing is key. Not associating myself with whatever feelings come up, but rather seeing myself and my experiences from an outside perspective. It helps a lot. Like understanding that culture shock is a thing, understanding that the feelings and emotions that you go through, it's not something wrong with you. It's basically a shock to the system. Your system is used to living in a certain way, especially if you have never really traveled before, or you're coming to a completely new place that you've never been in before. It's important to know that these feelings is normal, right? All feelings are normal, but some people can maybe get a bit too shocked, and they get shocked by the feelings that they are experiencing or what they are experiencing rather than understanding that it is because of culture shock or it is because of traveling. Writing and talking to people or just writing out what you're feeling helps a lot. This is not only about traveling or culture shock, but always writing about your feelings and emotions is a very good tool so you can understand it easier. Instead of just having it in your mind or in your system, like getting it out in a physical way, it's important in my own experiences. We humans usually describe ourselves with the culture that we are born with or the values that culture brings to us. And traveling therefore forces you in a way to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation where when you're understanding that your values may not really be your values, but it's actually the values that society has put on you or the culture has put on you because you have lived in a specific country. Traveling therefore forces you to look at yourself, who you are and why you are behaving in certain ways. This might also be why so many people who wants to find themselves do travel, because it puts us in a position when we are forced to kind of see that I am doing this kind of things, or I am in this way socially, not only because I am this person or I thought that this is how everyone is, it's because I was born in this country. So if you travel and if you get any of the symptoms, it's totally normal, or it's nothing really wrong with you, you know. And it is a shock, not only to your body, you know, time zones, different food, different bacteria, different sickness, different climate, and different values to people, socially, how people are behaving to you socially. It's not only it's also impacting you mentally and on a soul level, I would say. So soul, body, mind, you know, it's all together, right? It's all connected. So I've been in Sweden now for like 2 weeks, I think. 2 weeks since I left Asia. How have I coped with it since I came here? I've gotten some of the symptoms that is written online about culture shock, like not feeling that I'm home. And this is like not feeling home has been since I moved away. Like I've never really felt home in a country because I don't really feel that a country is my home. I more feel that, you know, where my heart is my home. And my heart is here and my heart is always with me. So therefore I am always home. Getting maybe like excessive eating, excessive sleeping, or not sleeping at all. And these symptoms is usually in my own experiences. Keep an open mind also, knowing that you are only human, you are experiencing different cultures in usually a very time, like in a short period of time, especially traveling to a lot of different places or a lot of different countries. It is going to bring up a lot of these things. So I don't really feel like myself right now, and that's totally fine, because it's okay. I'm going through this re-phase, let's say it like that, coming back to my home country, and just coming back and not going back to my parents. My parents live in another city than I am right now, so I'm basically coming back to my friend. I already feel that as soon as I leave here and I go to my parents' home, or it's my house where I grew up since I was 9, it is going to bring in more things, okay? So this is just the beginning stages of my little reface culture shock. And usually people get a bigger culture shock when they come home, when they come to their home country or their country that they are born in. And I feel that 100%. It's like my body and my mind and my soul feels more shock when I get to Sweden than if I go to another country. So yeah, there's so many different things in this. For some people it can take years to go through culture shocks. It can take months, weeks. It kind of depends on who you are. And it's interesting, it's very interesting. because I'm really going through it. Like I can feel it. I feel it in my whole body, in my whole soul, and it's okay. Like I just need to calm down and understand that it's okay that I feel the emotions that I am feeling, and it takes time. Sweden is such a different culture comparing to Asia, comparing to India and Thailand and Malaysia where I was. And obviously we can see differences comparing to like Thailand and India. It's a big culture difference there, and Malaysia, but it's like it's black and white almost. It's black and white comparing to Europe and Asia. It's such a different place. I just woke up today, like I need to make a video about culture shock. I don't really know anything about culture shock. This is mostly what I'm getting from internet, but in my own experiences, it's easier to kind of understand what you're going through if you know what it is. I don't really feel that I am gonna go through all of the stages when I am here in Sweden, because I'm not gonna be in Sweden for such a long time. I want to go away from here as soon as possible because I feel more comfortable in another country than I do in Sweden, and I don't really know why. I can't explain why I don't really feel that Sweden isn't my home, you know. I don't really feel that any country that I have visited so far feels like this is my home, this is my roots. Sometimes that feeling can be very uncomfortable, you know. Okay, where should I be? Where do I fit in into this whole system of life? And I'm just gonna keep on traveling. I'm just gonna keep on traveling and put my body and put my soul into this shocking stages, apparently. But now, the more I travel, the more we can adapt to it. The more I know what works for me, for an example. And just, you know, reading about it, understanding it, talking about it as I'm doing right now, helps a lot. Okay, it helps a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna keep on doing videos, obviously, for the YouTube here, but it takes some time for me to really come back to myself again, or like just feeling calm in my body, to really just integrate all of the things that I've gone through. Because when we are traveling, when we are doing the travel, we don't usually think about the things that we experience, right? We are just experiencing it. We are in the now usually, and it takes time. It takes time for our body, for our mind, and our soul, I guess, to really get all of the information and understanding of what I have gone through. This 11 months of traveling has been life-changing for me. It's been life-changing for me. And it's like a psychedelic trip. It's like a psychedelic trip that you go through, and sure, I've been taking psychedelics during my trip also, so it's like double up, and I shouldn't stress myself too much to the point of exhaustion just because I want to make videos, for an example. I really want to talk to you about what I'm going through and what I am experiencing when I'm traveling, and sometimes I can push myself too much, you know? Like we are born in a society where we push ourselves way too much than just being in our body, right? So during this couple of weeks I've been with my friends. I haven't been social for like 6 months. I've been meeting like not many people for a long period of time. So really coming back into this social life and meeting people, having a conversation with like a normal person with people has feel a bit forced in my way, because I'm kind of like, oh, I forgot how to behave. I forgot what do I talk about with people. It's very interesting to go through these experiences. I had one big culture shock when I was in India 3 years ago. And I was up in the north of India, and I was hanging out with a lot of people from Israel. And I was invited to a Shabbat. I'm not sure if that's the correct name of it, but every Friday Israeli people gather together, they have dinner together, they talk and they sing. And I was invited to one of these when I was in India, and that was one of my biggest culture shocks, because I was in India but I was surrounded by Israelis, and I was born in Sweden, so it was like 3 different cultures in one day. Very strange. It was, I can't even explain it. I'm getting goosebumps now. Like, I can't really explain it by words. It's very hard to describe the feelings from that moment in a understandable sentence. This is kind of calm comparing to the culture shock that I usually can get when I arrive in India for the first time, or second time or third time. You know, I usually forget about how the culture in India is comparing to Sweden or comparing to a European country. I haven't really traveled so much, I would say. I'm not like, this is the beginning stages of my travels, actually. To be honest, this is the beginning stages of my traveling, and I am excited to go to other countries, even if it's in Europe or in Asia or in America or in wherever. It doesn't really matter. I want to travel more. I like it. It is like a big psychedelic trip, to be honest. Like, really understanding yourself, or what you like, or what you want in the world, or who you are and how you behave. Traveling really helps, but it's not for everyone. Traveling is not for everyone. I know some people that wouldn't be able to go through the things that I've gone through. Like, that it would be too much for some people. Yeah, sometimes it can be even too much for me. You know, that's why I kind of like to travel, and I like to stay at least in the same kind of country for at least 3 months. 1 month is okay, but it's usually too short, because I need to take in all of the information and kind of understand it from my inner brain before I can really adjust and adapt to where I am. Yeah, coming back to Sweden, it's more of a culture shock for me than going to India or going to Thailand or going to Malaysia or whatever country, I would say. Just coming back to where I was born, it's such a weird feeling, very weird feeling. So yeah, if you are traveling, or if you want to travel, remember that culture shock is a thing. It's totally normal. You're not alone. If you want to talk about it, talk about it. You can call a friend. You can just write it out to yourself. You can write a comment on this video, just getting out the feelings or the emotions that you're getting is so important. This is one of the reasons why I do videos. Not only to share my own experiences of what I go through when I travel, or when I take psychedelics, or when whatever I do. I love to express myself through talking and really looking at it afterwards, and editing, for an example. It's a really growing tool for me, and it has helped me so much. I started to make videos when the first day I arrived in India, during my 11-month trip. I did videos before that, but like I just did more videos when I started my India trip, and making videos has really helped me to cope with the transitions and the experience that I've gone through. So that's also a tip. Like, if you want to travel, record it. Record yourself. I mean, if you look back on my first video when I started my trip to India, I obviously I recognize myself, but I'm not the same person. I wouldn't be the same person even though I've stayed in the same place. But I've grown a lot, and I'm much more mature. I'm much more comfortable in my own body. I'm much more comfortable in my own self, in my soul, in my emotions, in who I am, and I'm very thankful. Even though it's very shocking to go through traveling, or whether that's a psychedelic travel or just traveling, it's shocking to your system, but it's also very growing, and it's life-changing to travel. And I'm just gonna keep on traveling, because it's my passion to travel, and I also feel that it's my destiny to put myself in different cultures and in different scenarios and experiences. it's my destiny. I'm destined to do it, and I'm usually very comfortable. As most people, I don't like the uncomfortable things in life, but it makes me grow, and it makes me more me. There's so much mystery in the world. There's so much magic in the world, and the more I travel, the more question marks emerge, actually. And I like that. I love to question. I love to question everything. I want to question everything. I want the deeper understanding of everything, and it's cool. It's cool. I'm gonna end this video. Thank you for watching. If you have ever had a culture shock, do tell me. It would be interesting to know if you have ever gone through it yourself, and if you have any personal methods or coping mechanisms of what you do if you traveled, and write a comment. If you like my content here on YouTube, you're very welcome to join and subscribe my little channel here. If you are interested in tarot readings, I have another channel when I do tarot readings. Everything is in the little box below this video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon again, but I'm not gonna press myself to make videos. I'm gonna take it day by day now, because I am in the shocking period right now. And that's okay, that's okay. So I'm gonna give myself a hug. And thank you again for being here. Namaste and goodbye.